Hi, my name is Meg, and since this is the first video I'm gonna put on this channel, I'll give a quick intro. Like every other human being on the internet, I just have a bunch of opinions, and I don't really need to spend my life commenting on things. I thought I'd start trying to format my own words in my own ways, and I'm mostly doing this for myself. I'm not necessarily telling my friends or family about this channel. It's just about me trying to put some ideas together. If people see this, dope. If nobody sees this, it's mostly just for me anyway, to get kind of my thoughts out. And I spend a lot of time really thinking about kind of what's going on in the world, what's going on in society, and how it affects me, people I know, and others on a very personal level. And today is the day I finally decided to start doing this, because there's a particular issue that affects me, that affects a lot of my friends very personally. And it's kind of the stigma surrounding mental health and mental issues. And by the way, I'm coming to you in my room with very bad lighting and very wet hair because it's raining super hard outside and I have to go to work soon, and I have no desire to spend 10 minutes drying my hair just to go outside and get it all horribly wet again. So, anyway, I think we have this very messed up view of mental illness and mental health as a society, that we really only see what's on the outside. That if someone tells you, for instance, I'm sick, I'm not well, and you can't see it when you look at them, that we tend to dismiss it. Like, well, you don't look depressed, or you don't look like you have bipolar disorder, or whatever it is. And there are so many people out there who are suffering silently, that don't feel that they can necessarily talk to others about what they're going through because of the preconceived notions that we tend to have. So, speaking from personal experience, I am someone who has been affected by anxiety and depression since I was a teenager, like many people. But for instance, my anxiety was what really became more of a problem over the past few years, and it really started when I was 18. And in college is when my anxiety truly became a very real part of how I deal with the world, and became something that truly affected my life in a very negative way. I was under a lot of stress my freshman year, partially because I was taking a lot of classes that I had kind of jumped into because of aptitude tests. And there was a program that I wanted to get into, and technically you weren't allowed to audition for it until you were a sophomore, but I had all the required classes already taken, so I didn't have technically enough credits. But my mother very much pushed me into audition, like, just go do it now, and if you don't make it. But I cannot explain to you how much this one audition for this program really messed with me. And one of the ways in which I really couldn't put words to what was wrong with me. So basically what happened was, at first I kind of forgot to eat. Like, I'd always had kind of weird eating issues. I'd always been someone who was an emotional eater and someone who would binge, but like all of a sudden I was forgetting to eat, or like I didn't feel like it, and then after a few days of this kind of like, oh, I had some saltines yesterday. And I can tell you, it wasn't a weight loss thing. It wasn't intentional. It was just like, I don't really want to. I have no appetite. But I was like, at some point I was like, shit, I haven't had a meal in several days. Like, maybe I should go do something about this, put something in my body. And then the first time I tried to put something in my body after 3 or 4 days of this, like, not eating, I immediately threw all of it up. And it wasn't something that I tried to do. I don't want to, like, bulimia is also a very serious issue, but I want to make this clear that it was not an issue of bulimia. It was that my anxiety was so bad that my body was like, oh shit, what do I do? And after not eating, then I really screwed myself up. And all of a sudden it wasn't just, oh, I don't feel like eating. It was like, if I eat, everything will come back up. If I eat, I will immediately vomit. And if I smelled food, I would just get nauseous, and I had no idea what was wrong with me. I couldn't really function because I didn't have enough energy to do anything. I was afraid to leave my room. I was afraid, and I had no understanding of what was happening. I thought, oh God, I'm dying, you know? And this went on for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks of vomiting, every time I tried to eat, pretty much, with a few exceptions, I finally was like, okay, it's time for me to go to the school health center. And I had even had, for 2 days before I went, I had had fever. And I went in and I told them I haven't been able to eat for like 2 weeks. I've been vomiting. I've been nauseous. Like, I can't, keep food down. They were like, okay, well, we'll take your temperature. And that was normal. And they took my blood pressure and they were like, oh, your blood pressure's just a little bit low. And then they weighed me. And at the point where they weighed me, I noticed that I had in 2 weeks lost like a bit over 10 pounds, which is not healthy and not normal. And I told them that right away. I was like, this is not what I weighed 2 weeks ago. This is drastic. Like, there's something wrong. They're like, oh, no, you're probably fine. Like, it's okay. You're going to be fine by tomorrow. And they sent me away. And I really didn't know what to do. Like, I thought I was dying. It was such a physical issue. And it just screwed with me. And my mother was trying to help me. Like, she was trying to figure out, like, what can you eat without throwing up? But there were very few things that I could eat. Like, at some point, I figured out that the one meal that I could keep down was a tiny bowl of chicken noodle soup from Panera. So I would go to Panera once a day and buy a bowl of soup. And I would eat that, and I would try to drink some soda. But everything else was like, no way, won't happen. And one of the other things that really, for instance, bothered me at this time, and this is another issue of the visibility of, like, when you have an issue. So I lost a lot of weight really fast, and I've been a bit heavier, and I'm still not the thinnest person, but I've been a bit heavier than I am now. And of course, everybody was fast to comment, like, oh my gosh, what have you been doing? Like, you look so great. And I'm thinking, like, if you lose this much weight in 3 weeks, like, this can't be healthy. Like, who would possibly think? And I was very bitter about this because I felt like shit because I was so hungry, but I couldn't eat. So if someone would be like, oh my gosh, you look so great, and I'd be like, oh yeah, stomach flu diet, like, can't keep anything in my body. I feel like shit, but I'm so thin. And I was just so upset about it. And so this went on until this audition. And the day of my audition, I couldn't even keep down the chicken noodle soup. I couldn't do anything. I somehow went into this audition. I sang. I got through it. I thought I was going to pass out. I had to call my friend to walk me home because I had so little energy. And I did a good job. It was fine. I got in, okay? But the deal is, after my audition, the anxiety, the nauseousness went away. Everything was gone. It was because of this one day that I was so sick for a month that my body went through hell. And the problem with this is, obviously, yes, I'm fine now. This was, 5 years ago. But it took me a long time to get my body back to normal. Because when you starve yourself, intentionally or unintentionally, it's big stress on your physical well-being. And it took me months and months to get my body back to a place where I could eat like a normal human because my stomach had shrunk and I was not doing well. I did get back to normal and I actually ended up being healthier as a result, but I'm not advocating for this because it's fucking horrible. If I really wanted to be healthy, like there would have been another way that I would have gone about that. That is not the way that I would choose to do that. Not the way that anyone should choose to go through something like that because it was one of the worst times in my life that I can remember. And since then, that was the first big event, but since then, eating and not eating and anxiety have gone hand in hand for me. When I am really anxious, I cannot eat. I have dealt with anxiety through a number of very unhealthy ways, one of them being smoking. Even though I officially quit smoking about 9 or 10 months ago, I still keep a box of cigarettes in my drawer, and they're my panic cigarettes. And when I freak out or I have a bad day, I end up smoking quite a bit. And recently, it's been more than normal, so that's not great. But in the case of honesty, I wanted to put this out there because I know that a lot of people are going through issues like this. And one of the most important things for me, for instance, in getting me through a lot of this is knowing that I am not alone in this problem, in this issue. And something that's bothering me recently is the way that we as a society tend to look at these issues. And I'm not just talking about, I don't really want to speak to other mental health issues because I don't have them, and I don't want to speak for other people. But one thing that I can say is a lot of times when people can't see what's wrong with you, they don't believe that there's something wrong with you, or they don't understand, or they think, oh, you look fine. They don't know, for instance, when you go through a depressive bout, like you can't get out of bed, and you have these people who say things to you like, oh, go out, exercise, just, eat healthier and like read, but you have no energy to do any of those things. Like you can't help yourself sometimes in those moments. You can't help yourself. And some people need therapy, some people need coping mechanisms, and some people need medicine. It depends on the severity, it depends on who you are as a person. And the only person who can really decide that is between you and your doctor or your psychologist. It's nobody else's business what you need to do to get through it. That is up to you. But I've noticed that a lot of people are really afraid to go to therapy or afraid to go to doctors. And I myself have been very hesitant about seeking help. Mainly because you're afraid of what people are going to say. You're afraid that people are going to say the most usual thing, oh, it's all in your head. And that's why I titled this video, It's All in Your Head. Someone very close to me is going through some issues of this right now. Debilitating physical effects of anxiety and depression. And what bothers me is a lot of people don't realize this. Depression hurts. Anxiety hurts. Okay, yes, it was in my head what was happening to me. And when I get anxiety, it is, of course, it is in my head, okay? But that doesn't mean it's not physical. I feel it. When I have a panic attack, I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm gonna die. I know in my brain, like I can physically say to myself, I'm fine, I'm not gonna die. But that doesn't make it any less real. That doesn't make the pain. People who have experienced, for instance, from depression or anxiety, physical pain. I get chest pain sometimes. That's what really scares me. Aside from the eating issues, I get really bad chest pains. And it feels like you're having a heart attack. And just because you know you're not does not make it go away. And so I guess one of the things that I wanted to say is the way that we, for instance, look at anybody with mental illness, the way that we use the word crazy is a problem. We use that to describe everything, and we demean and diminish the experiences of people who are going through mental issues. That there's nothing wrong with having problems, and there's nothing wrong with seeking help. And you are not less of a person, you are not weak for seeking help. You are strong regardless of what you need to do to get through the day. And you don't need to listen to anybody else who says anything other than that. You are strong on your own. And if you are dealing with depression, even if you can't get out of bed, you're still here, and that makes you strong. It breaks my heart that so many people are afraid to go to doctors because there are doctors out there who will say, there's nothing wrong with you, you are fine. Just because physically you are fine does not mean everything's fine, and insisting that that's how it is killing people. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I'm hoping that of all the 0 people that see this, maybe there's 1 person that sees it, or 2 people, and maybe one of those people is having issues, and that I can just say to that 1 person, whatever it is you're going through, there's no shame that you need to feel. You're not alone. You're gonna be okay. I probably shouldn't even say that. You're gonna be okay is kind of a coded phrase. I'm gonna stop myself. I'm gonna catch myself on that. I'm not saying that you're not gonna be okay, but I think it's kind of unfair of me to just be like, everything's gonna be fine. It'll work out. I don't know that, and I shouldn't say that. That's untruthful. You're a strong person, and your experiences are valid. And no matter what people say to you, what you're going through is real. And you matter, and you are an important person because you are a person, simply. And it's not just, this is also, in a lot of ways, this is an issue that affects different sectors of society differently. I know that For me, especially as a woman, especially as a white woman, it's a lot easier for me to go to therapy and talk about therapy and say what therapy is like than it is for people of other races and genders to do that. And I don't really, again, I don't want to speak to anybody's issues that I haven't experienced, and I'm not going to do that. But this overall stigma on mental health, it needs to fucking stop. It needs to fucking stop. We need to stop telling people that they're okay. If someone says, I'm not okay, I need help, maybe you can't always help them, but you need to be there for them, or you need to encourage them to find someone who can help them, or encourage them to go to a doctor or a psychiatrist or whatever it is they need, and to tell them that it's okay to seek help, that it's okay to need help, that it's okay to do something for yourself and for your mental health. And that what other people think or what other people say is not nearly as important as you figuring your life out and you finding ways to do things for you and you figuring out ways to live your life and to deal with your issues, whatever they are. For me, like I said, being anxiety and depression, I have found many ways to deal with them, but it does not change the fact that there are days where I cannot get out of bed. And I'm not going to allow someone to tell me that I'm weak, or that I need to exercise more and then everything will go away, or that if I eat better, or that if I just don't drink, or that if I just, that it's going to go away. This is a long-term problem that I have to deal with. I accept that. But most importantly, coming clear with the fact that this is not my fault, this is not your fault, okay? That it's not an easy fix, and that it's okay to have problems, and it's okay to have issues, and it's okay to seek help. I guess that's basically all I have to say. But just in general, you're valid, your problems are valid, and you are not alone. And I hope that someone out there will do something for themselves, that they will find a way to help themselves if they can. And that other people will start to view mental illness more the way it is and not the way it's portrayed to be. Viewing depression as what it is and not what it's portrayed to be. Viewing personality disorders as what they are and not what they're portrayed to be. Whatever it is, to see every person's problems as individual and different, and to not put people in one box together. You look healthy, you look sick, you look this way. Everyone can suffer from these issues, and you may not even know. And there's no reason to judge anyone for going through something like this. So I'm going to sign off now. And I hope that anyone who's seen this has a great day, does something for themselves, does something for someone else if they can, and continues to go on in the best way that they're able to. Bye. Till next time.